Hi guys, today we're going to do palindrome permutation. So they say given a string s, they want us to return true if a permutation of the string could form a palindrome and false otherwise. So in example 1, they tell us that s equals code, and this would output false because there's no way, no matter how we reorganize these characters, that we could create a palindrome out of this. In example 2, we're given AAB and we would return true because if we just rearranged it, then we would be able to make a palindrome out of this. In example 3, we're given this and then we would return true because given the characters, it is possible to make a palindrome out of it. So for this problem, we can basically just have a map where we map each character in the string to the frequency of it, and then we don't really care what the actual order is because again, we don't need to check that it actually is a palindrome. We just want to check if we could make a palindrome. So to do that, basically we just want to check that every single character that we encounter in the string has an even number of occurrences, and then we can have one exception where we have one character that is odd, or we don't have to, but at most one exception of an odd number of frequency of a character, because whatever character that is, it's going to be the one we can use it in the middle. Like for example, in example 2, right? We have all even occurrences and then one odd occurrence, and that's because the B could go in the middle and it would still be in palindrome, but we can only have one because if we have more than one, then it breaks that, right? So we'll just need to check for that. So let's go ahead and create a map to map the characters to the frequencies. So we'll say map character integer equals new hash map, and then we'll just loop through our string s and add each character into the map while counting its frequencies. So we'll say for I is 0, I is less than s dot length, I plus plus, and then we'll say char c equals s dot char add I. Okay, and then we're going to want to check, we're going to want to add this character as a key in the map if we don't already have it. So we'll say map.put c, and then map.get or default c and 0 plus 1. So this is going to map the characters to its frequencies. And then once we have our map set up, then, so for example, let's use example 2. So let's say our input is this, then our map would be A mapped to 2 and then B mapped to 1, like this, right? So once we have this set up, then we're going to want to loop through all of the values in our map. We don't really care what the keys are because these actual characters can be whatever, right? It doesn't matter. What we really care is just the values of the characters, like the actual frequencies. So we can just loop through the values directly and say for int count, and then we'll loop through map.values. And then we're just going to check if the, so let's actually also have a variable up here. So we'll say odds, and we'll set it equal to 0 to start out with. And this is going to keep track of how many characters we have from our string or our map or whatever that have an odd number of frequency. So in this example, we would have 1 because we have one character that has an odd frequency, and that's B, right? And so we can only have one odd character for this entire thing to be true. So that's why we want to keep track of that. So if we encounter a character that has an odd frequency, then we'll increment odds, and that's how we'll keep track of that. So for each value or each count or whatever, if count mod 2 is not equal to 0, then that means it's going to be odd. So we'll increment odds. And then we'll just do a quick check for it like that for every single character in our map. And then once we have gone through all of the frequencies in our map, then we'll just say if odds is greater than 1, then that means we cannot make a palindrome because we have more than one character that has an odd frequency. So then we would return false. Otherwise, we can go ahead and return true. So that should be that. Okay. Then our time complexity. If we take a look here, we have 2 different loops going on. This one, we are looping through our input string s, and we're looping through, or we're iterating through every single character exactly one time. So this is going to be O of n, where n is the number of characters in our input string. And then this one, we are looping through the values in the map, which is proportionate to n, where n is the number of characters in our input string as well, because worst case scenario, every single character in our input string is unique, and then we're going to be looping through every single character exactly one time in the map as well. But either way, it doesn't matter because O of n plus O of n is O of n. So this is going to be O of n, where n is the number of characters in input string s. Okay, and then our space complexity, we just have this one data structure here, which is our hash map. And our hash map, just like I said, worst case scenario, is going to store every single character in our string s with a frequency of 1 if every single character is unique. So either way, it's proportionate to n, so it doesn't really matter, but so it's the same thing as O of n. So that's it for this problem. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!